Welcome back to my channel. Myself Keki Singh. So in the sequence of Python tutorial for CBSE students, computer science, informatics practices, and artificial intelligence, I was discussing conditional statements in Python. I discussed a lot in conditional statements. Now we are going to talk about the indentation, because indentation in Python is very important. Why? Because if one character goes beyond the indent or the margin, the program will not be successfully executed. And that is why indentation in Python plays a very important role. In other programming languages, you might use curly braces, you might use begin or and, but in Python, indent is used to make a group. So indentation in Python is very important, and here I'll discuss indentation. Along with it, I'll discuss condition and boolean variables along with if and else. So let's move to our presentation. So here, conditional statements in Python, we have been discussing this. So now we are going to continue. So if you look at these scripts, it's a program, and in these programs you must notice that some statements are moving towards right and some are starting and on the left margin. So what are these? So we have to find out what are these and how to manage all these margins in my Python program or in your Python programs. If you look at in the scripts, you must have observed that all the statements are not left aligned equally. Some of the statements have been shifted to the right. This is called indentation. Indentation is shifting of a statement to the right of another statement. In Python, indentation is used to form the blocks, as I told you earlier, blocks of these statements. A block is a group of statements which is treated as a unit. If a block, let us call it B, is indented with respect to its above statement, let us call it A, then execution of block B depends upon the execution of the statement A. This concept is used in conditional statements and loops, which may be covered later on, but this time I'm going to show you the indentation through this diagram. So if you look at this diagram, so A block, which is in gray, under A there are some other blocks. So under block A there are three blocks, B, C and F, which are under the block A. Means these three blocks will be executed under block A. And if you look at the block G, A and G are on the same margins, and that is why A and G will be executed one after the other. So if we move towards the B block and C block, B and C blocks are under block A. Similarly, block F is also under A. And if we talk about block D and block E, so block D is under C and block E is also under C. So D and E blocks will be executed one after the other. Similarly, B and C, which are under A, will be executed one after the other. And block F will be executed when the C gets over. So this is the meaning of indentation, and this way we can group the blocks. Let's move ahead. Let us take the example. For example, suppose I have taken two variables A and B. So if you look at the script, if A greater than B and if you apply B, then colon is mandatory. So after the condition, you will have to put the colon. So as soon as this condition is executed, and if this condition is true, then the statements which are following the condition, print A is greater than B, print A is not less than B, these two statements will be executed only when A is greater than B. So you have to notice here that print A is greater than B and print A is not less than B. These two statements are indented, and it shows, means condition shows that these two statements, print A is greater and A is not less than, these two statements are under the condition A greater than B. When the condition is true, only then these two statements will be executed. Correct? So in this code, the block consisting of second, third statements will be executed only if the condition A greater than B is true. And if the condition is false, then this block will not be executed. Suppose A is 5 and B is 2. Obviously B is greater than 2, and hence A is greater than B is printed. A is not less than B is also printed. And suppose A is 2 and B is 5. In this case, 2 is not greater than 5, and hence this condition becomes false. So these two statements will not be executed. So wanted to say that these two statements, print A is greater than B and A is not less than B, these two statements are under the condition A greater than B, and these statements are indented, and it shows this is the block which will be executed only when the condition is true. Okay, now next, to understand the concept better, consider the following three scripts and their respective outputs. For example, if you look at, so these snippet I have taken from Python IDLE. If 5 greater than 4, print 5 is greater than 4, print done. So these two statements will only be executed when the condition is true, and that is why, since 5 is greater than 4, so output will be 5 is greater than 4 and done. Next example, 5 less than 4. If you see 5 is not less than 4, so the statements, the block which is coming under 5 less than 4 condition will not be executed. Why? Because 5 is not less than 4, so there will be no output. Next example, 5 greater than 4, but the block which is coming under this condition is only print 5 is greater than 4. So this statement will be printed only when 5 is greater than 4, and print done will also be printed because this is not under the scope of the condition. So this is out of, means if and print done, these are on the same margin, and that is why they are executed one after the other. So once if 5 is greater than 4 is executed, only then print done is executed. So these two statements will also be printed, like 5 is greater than 4 it is printed just because of 5 is greater than 4, and print done as usual means the first statement is executed, then the second statement will be executed. Now next example, if 5 less than 4, so again if 5 less than 4, since this condition is false, so the statement under this condition is 5 is less than 4 will not be executed. Why? Because this condition is false. So if this condition is false, so since this statement is executed, 5 less than 4, since this statement has been executed and it is false, and that is why the next statement will be printed or will be executed, and it will print done here. So these are some examples. So hope you like it, and you can try either on Ideally or in Collab or whichever platform you want. You can use Jupyter also. Next, so we should be very careful about where to indent the statements. We should also remember the invalid indentation is a syntax error, and the incorrect indentation results in the logical error. Just have a look on the example. Suppose I just said in Collab print hello. So this is simple statement. Whereas I have written or I have given the statement print how are you. So this is not indented because the vertical line, if you look at the code, print hello, then in the next statement print how are you, this is a red underline, and before print there is a vertical line. It shows this there is an indentation problem. So you will have to look into it. You will have to observe whether this is indented or not. So here this is unexpected indent kind of error it will show. So here this is the error because print how are you is not indented, and that is why indentation error appears on the screen, and the indentation error is unexpected indent sort of error is this. So this shows that indentation in Python programming is very important. And one more clue I want to share with you, that if you want to take care of the indentation, you should use the pencils to make the indentation, to align the margins. Like over here, if you look at this vertical bar, it shows this statement should have been under print hello statement. So this way you can manage the indents. Now, conditions in Boolean variables. A condition can also be stored in a variable. That means what? And data type of such a variable is bool. In short, bool, and the full form is boolean. Boolean means true or false. Such a variable can later be used to represent a condition. Just have a look on the statement, like suppose a comma b is equal to 10 comma 20. If you execute this code, a will store 10 and b will represent 20. When I click on the run button or play button, so here a will have 10 and b will store 20, and when I say c is equal to a greater than b, so this is the condition. And mind it, I have not used if here, but this conditional statement, the result of this condition will be stored in C in the form of false or true. So since A is 10 and B is 20, so 10 is not greater than 20, and that is why this condition is, or the Boolean statement is false, so C will store false. So when you say print C or type C, so that type of the class will be Boolean and the output of this would be false. Correct? Now next, one more example. So if you look at this example, program example, I have taken get the value of n in the form of integer. Then I have used one identifier, that is even, and the expression, or it is in the form of the condition, and modulo 2 is equal to 0. So means I am going to check whether the given number is even or odd. So when you say even is equal to n modulo 2, means n will be divided by 2 and will check whether the remainder is 0. So even will be true if n is the even number, means it is divisible by 2. Otherwise even will be false. Even, what is even? Even is the identifier or the variable. So if even means if the condition is true, it means even is equal to true, means n is divisible by 2 and remainder is 0. And in this case, if even means I am checking, like if n modulo 2 is equal to 0, then print number is even, otherwise print number is odd. So through this example, it is clear that we can store a condition or the Boolean statements into a variable. Like here, n modulo 2 I have stored in the variable even, and modulo 2 is equal to 0, the entire Boolean expression will result either true or false, and this result will be stored in even variable. Okay, and the next statement, next I'm going to discuss this also. A condition can also be stored in a variable, and data type of such variable is bool. In short, this is bool. Otherwise, in full form of this is boolean. Such a variable can later be used to represent a condition, as I discussed earlier in the earlier slide. So in Python, a number can also be used as a boolean expression or the condition. Number 0 means the condition is false, or it is considered as false. Otherwise it will be considered as true, means 0 value is false and non-zero value is true. Just have a look on this example. So I have taken some snippets from Colab. If 0 means false, then print true, otherwise or else print false. First snippet. Second snippet, if 5, this is non-zero, then print true, otherwise print false. Next snippet, if minus 8.5 colon, print true, this is again non-zero. So in these three cases, the first case, this is if 0 means this condition is false, and if 5, this condition is true. If minus 8.5, this condition is also true. So the outputs of these snippets will be false, true, true. False, true, true. So this is how we can store a Boolean expression or result of the Boolean expression into a variable, and later we can display or we can analyze it. Okay, so this is about the indentation. This is about the condition we can store into a variable. This is about the analysis of the Boolean variable or the Boolean values. So hope you understood the concept of indentation, and I would suggest that while making indentation in your program, use lines, use pencil to draw lines, so that indentation in the program can be maintained. Hope you understood the concept. So hope you are doing good, and also try more programs as I discuss 2 or 3 examples here. You try more. So this all for the day. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, bye bye.